Hey everyone, Steve Poland here, and a couple weeks ago I asked for feedback, videos that you guys would like to see, and one that I got a few times was updates on past projects. So I wanted to do that this week. This video will be a little bit longer and more rambly than I've been making them recently. It's really tough to do something like this and give updates on all these projects and not have it just be me talking off the cuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're down here in the basement fish room, obviously. Really the first project that I had going down here was this double 40 breeder rack. And the stand is from Lowe's. It's the Edsel rack. And with this stand you could do two different, like you could split it into two and do 4 40 breeders. I just did 2 so that I would have this storage up top, which is actually really nice to have. This stand has been sturdy. Have not had a single issue with it. Does not show any signs of any wear. I mean, it feels to me like it could last forever. Really sturdy stand, really thick metal. Been very happy with it. The next project that I did, I built this double 55-gallon rack out of wood. It's been a good rack as well. It was obviously much cheaper than the rack from Lowe's, and I could customize it. And I actually did a 3rd row on top, which I've shown in the past, and there's a 20 long up there. Can't say I would do anything differently on that build. It's only, it's 4 feet wide, so I just did 2x4s. No issues at all. And then, of course, the big rack down here is the 4 40 breeders. Again, pretty happy with this, really. Pretty happy with the rack. I've had a lot of people ask me how this one, how it's gone. Since I did it, I get a lot of comments on that video asking me, is it holding up? Is it doing well? I gotta say it really is. I did the 2x6s across these lower spans because it's 6 feet and I didn't want to do a post in the middle. I feel like that was the right choice. Can't really say how it would have been with a 2x4, but it would have made me nervous that I might have some bowing. 0 bowing with this. It's been great. Got breeding groups down here. Again, I got sponge filters on these tanks, and the bottom 2 I'm running smaller aqua clears. The top 2 I'm not. Now the one thing I will say about this project that I don't know if I'll say I regret, but I almost do have to say I regret, is these dividers. The theory of the dividers I think was great. I don't think it was a bad idea. I think there's a couple issues. One is that I don't think the holes that I drilled in these are big enough, and I made them small because I didn't want, I was going to fry in these and I didn't want the fry to be able to swim through the holes. I really went too conservative on that, and there's not enough flow that goes through. So like I have to have a heater in each of these compartments, and when I do, the temperature, if you can tell because you've got them set slightly differently. I've got a thermometer in each. And the temperature, it stays consistently different between the 3 chambers. There's just not much flow going through there. And it was cool. It was, I think, a good idea in theory to have splits so that you didn't have a bunch of smaller tanks. But again, I got 3 sponge filters in there. I got 3 heaters in there. But I'm only running, these are all hooked into my drip system. But it's only dripping into one of the tanks. And then it's overflowing into one of the tanks. And again, I'm not getting that great of flow, so not really happy with that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm just going to take those out, if I'm going to try and enlarge the holes and see if it does any better. I might do that because I could probably drain it down maybe to a 1/3 full and do that, so we'll just have to see. But otherwise, this has been good, and a project I've got coming up, a little sneak peek here, and I'm going to do my best to document all of it, is I'm doing a row of 10s up top, 6 10s. For Growouts, for fry. So, and those are kind of in progress, so I don't want to show you too much, but got that coming up. Now, one thing about this whole room that is possibly a regret, and again, I'm happy with the theory of it, but I wish I'd done it a little differently, is the drains. So these tanks are all drilled. The only tank in here that is not drilled is this 20 long up here, which probably should just drill at some point, but and these 55s are not drilled, but they have overflow. So all of these are on drip systems, and they all flow down And I've got drains. That's my massive water heater, and I'll see if I can guide you through here. It all drains down through to this, and it's kind of patchwork because I did it in stages, which of course is how a lot of projects are, but I might redo it because these drains, I only did 3/4 inch PVC drains, and I should have gone bigger on the drains. So I'm thinking at some point, and it's hard because the floor drain is down here below this 55, so to even get to it is kind of a huge pain. But I really wish, as we go back here, give you a little more light here, I really wish that these were larger drains. You can see my weights here. It runs along the side of the room and over to that drain, but definitely would like to tear all that out and redo it. It's just that's going to be a huge project, so I don't know when I'll get to it. The other thing that's back here, these projects that I did in this room, so I've got this drain system, and let me pull this out here if I can. This is my drain that I showed you, my drain system with the siphon starter. Unfortunately, this is my second siphon starter. You may have seen on Instagram I posted a picture. So this was my original siphon starter, and it broke. Like just, it started to leak, and I'm going, why is it leaking? And then it just ripped completely off. I mean, these are not super high quality. I guess I knew that. This came out of a kit that I got at Petco, like a siphon kit. The replacement that I bought is actually, I got on Amazon. It is this Lee's, which apparently is, I don't know, I guess popular or whatever, this Lee's siphon starter. And I don't know if you can really tell, but they are, the quality on them is a little bit different. Like you can just tell that this, that the Lee's is made a little better. And I all of these I had to super glue this part for it not to leak. Okay, but unfortunately I'm on my second siphon starter. However, having the siphon starter is awesome. My most common way that I use this is with this attachment. You know, I've got the different attachments that I can put on there. I've got that PVC union that I can just take off. So I'll just run it with this straight hose, start the siphon, and just vacuum the poop out, basically. And then, you know, I do have this other attachment here that I've shown you that I built where you can just put that on there, squeeze the starter, and let it drain. And that's great. What I've started doing recently, because I've got so much water down here, and it just takes forever to let it gravity drain, is I have this pump. This is a pump from Harbor Freight. I forget how many gallons per hour it is. I want to say it's at least 1,300 gallons per hour. And then I just have a hose. I'll just hook the hose into that. And this I throw down in my floor drain. It's just this is a hose to PVC adapter. This is just a little bit of 3/4 inch PVC. And I just throw this end down in my floor drain, and it sits there. It just pumps super fast to there. So that's really a much faster way to drain all these tanks. And if I had all that to do over again, this whole room, I would figure out a better way. I mean, I've got the drip system. It's good. It's better than, you know, having to do big water changes as frequently as I would have to do them if I didn't have a drip system. However, I would love to automate this room more. And then on the wall, of course, is the fill system that comes from upstairs. This is awesome. I got no complaints about this fill system. It has been great to have. It works great. Yeah, perfect. That is really it for most of the projects in this room. The one other update I have for you is the Growout in the Crawlspace. So let me take you in there and show you that really quick. Okay, so in the Crawlspace here, this is the Crawlspace Growout. This is my biofiltration chamber. The one thing that's been going on with this system is I had this bucket, you might remember if you watched all those videos. It'd be kind of cool if you did, if you never saw those. Did a whole series of build videos on this system. I had this bucket that kind of sat on this intake here and had some filter floss in it, and it just started to droop like crazy. I could never get it to stay. unfortunately. And then I switched to a filter sock that I had on there that seemed to work better, but it clogged up really fast. And it was starting to, when I had that on there, it restricted the flow to where this barrel here, which is the radial flow filter, the water level in it, and again, hindsight, if I had it to do over again, I would have the water level in this barrel a little lower, because anytime I muck with the biofilter, the water level in this can rise and it starts to overflow a little bit, which is obviously very bad. So still trying to figure out a good plan for the mechanical filtration in that chamber. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. The sump back there still do not have plants in it because I can't figure out. I'm indecisive on what kind of plants I want to put in there, and just haven't really decided yet. But the good news, if I open up this one, if you can see in there, there are fish in here. I have F1 red-shouldered juveniles in here. There are 15 of them in here, and I've got some fish in the other I've got 2 of these bins. The other bin has some fish in it, just some odds and ends, fish that I didn't have anywhere else to put them. So, I wish they would all come out here a little better, but they're probably shying away from the light. But anyways, yes, so I've had many questions, people saying, how's the grow out? Are there fish in the grow out? Well, yes, there are fish now in the grow out. It took a long time to cycle, and once it cycled, there was so much ammonia that I put into this thing that the nitrates were just like, it took a couple times of almost draining the thing completely and putting all new water in it to get that to go. So anyways, that's a grow out. It's doing well. Everything in there is pretty much as I expected it to be, other than that mechanical filtration. So anyways, guys, that is the updates for now. Thank you for watching through all of this rambling, but I feel like it's nice, you know, people make these projects and then you just wonder later on, like, well, did that end up being awesome, or did it end up being terrible and flooded your entire house, or what's going on? So as of now, this is how all these basement projects are. If you have questions or want me to give updates on anything that I forgot about or didn't think of, please let me know down in the comments. And as always, if this is your first time here at this channel, I would love to have you subscribe, because each week I bring you a new video sharing updates like this on my adventures in the aquarium hobby. I give updates on my tanks, review products, show you DIY projects, and share tips and tricks to help you take your tanks to the next level. So hit subscribe to follow along. Have a good one, everybody.